Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll be unboxing and building this huge C130J HERCULES. With a 33-inch wingspan, this is a real beast, so let's get started and we'll get this unboxed. And here it is, the C130J C5 HERCULES made by Italeri. And this is probably the biggest box I've ever had for one model. Just to give you a comparison, here's a Warcry Catacombs box. In fact, the first thing I unboxed on my channel over 3 years ago. But here we've got this one and then a little side-by-side comparison there. So you can see there's a lot going on here. Packed with plastic, loads of sprues. It really is an awesome model. So in the video, I'm going to get it unboxed. We'll go through all the contents. It's a 1/48 scale model, and it's going to have a massive transfer sheet as well. The biggest transfer sheet I've ever seen for any model so far. The number for this is 2746, and I'll put a link down below in case you'd like to check it out and grab one for yourself online. Now, I got this from eBay, and usually this sells for between £60 and £70 here in the UK. This one's got a price tag on, but I didn't pay that. I got it on eBay, so it was used. This is the condition it came in. It's not built, so it's pretty much brand new, except the box has been battered around a little bit. But I was lucky. I put a bid in for £40, and with £6 delivery, this was a real bargain for £46. And here you can see everything inside is brand new. We've got our instruction booklet there, and we've got this transfer sheet. You've got 4 variations that you can build with this, and you can choose from the US Marines and the British RAF, so you've got some options there with that. And then just get this little sheet out of the way, you can see all the sprues. Now these are huge, there's some massive components in this model. And this is bigger than any terrain I've built as well. So I'm really thinking of this as a piece of terrain that I'll be using in my skirmish games, especially in Population Z. That's what I got it for some specific scenarios. Just to give you an idea, that's one small component there from the tail fin, and that's an infinity model to give you an idea of size. And then we've got the main fuselage sections here, and so those are going to go together, and you've got the cockpit there at the front as well. So this is going to take up a lot of room, and once I've built it later on in the video, I'll show you how I'm going to be storing it. I'm not going to glue those wings on. You don't need to for this, especially using it as a terrain piece. But there we go, that's everything taken out of the box, so we'll put that to one side. And now here's everything out on the table, so I'll spread it all out and we'll start working our way through. We'll have a close look at everything, have a look at those transfer sheets, the book, and then the sprues themselves. I want to give you a really good idea about the size of everything in this in case you're looking to order one. So this is 19 inches by 11 inch. That's the transfer sheet. So there's tons of transfers on here. It's packed. And really, it's pretty much about A3 size. And you can see here the quality of it. Very crisp. Really nice. I haven't decided what I'm going to go for. I'm going to probably go British RAF. Paint it in green, definitely. I definitely want it green. So I think I'll go British RAF. And that'll look cool, because I don't want to go grey for the US Marine. So I think a green would look awesome. So that's probably the way I'm going to go with this. But you can see you've got loads of little components. Some of these go inside, and in the instruction book it tells you exactly where to place those. And then there's not that many on the outside actually, especially with the British RAF version. This paper sheet here just protects your transfers. Now we've got the instruction book, and it tells you there in the different languages, and then breaks it down. I didn't think it was going to take that long to build. I underestimated it a little bit. I thought I could get it done easy in one evening, but it took me a little bit longer than that. I had to carry over into the next day and finish it off. But I'll show you a few stages as we go through the build. But very fun model to build. I thought it might be a little bit tricky, especially having such big pieces to put together. But they go together really nicely. There's a few little gaps to fill out, as you'll see later on. But really nice, very clearly labelled where everything goes. And then you've got all the different variations. There's 4 variations that you can use the transfers for. Let's break out the sprues then, and we'll have a look at the components. So here we go. Real big panels here. And there's also quite a few small components to go in there as well. The attention to detail is fantastic. I'll get zoomed in on some of the pieces specifically so you can see the interior especially really stands out. Some very nice sections in there. But here you go. This is one of the smaller ones actually. There it is. And if I bring that in closer in a second, you can have a look and just see close up all the patterns and markings. You've got like the fire extinguishers, you've got lights, panels, all the ducting and everything. Very nice. Really well done. Little axe there too. or the straps. So if you wanted to paint the interior, that'd be cool. And there's the control panel, or one of them from the cockpit. There's quite a few that go in there. There's even some brushes there too. So that's the first one. Now let's have a look at some of the other parts. You also get that long piece in there loosely. Here's one of the very smaller sprues. There we go, a few steps. Little cabinet there. I think that's going in the cockpit later on. So that's going to have a lot of the electronics in there and everything. I don't know what I'm talking about as far as aeroplanes are concerned, but I did actually fly in one of these once when I was in the Royal Navy, and that was really cool. So I was really happy to get a chance to go in one. It wasn't comfy at all, but yeah, good experience and something, yeah, I'm pleased happened. Anyway, back to the model. We can see we've got some cool panels here, some of the larger sections of the tail fin. Flipping it over, you can see there the front of the cockpit, and those two panels are just going to go together, so that's nice and easy. Again, it went together so smoothly. And I'll show you later how I used some tape for some parts, but bits like these just went together once the glue was on there, sandwiched really well. So that worked a treat. Okay, let's keep going. We've got quite a few of these sprues to go through, actually. This one's got the propellers on and some of the framework as well, and some of the engines mostly. So you're going to be building 4 of these engines here. And it's nice how they've got the detail going on in some of the components inside. You only get a glimpse, a slight glimpse, through some of the gaps. So I like that. And really straightforward to build, no problem at all. I looked at this at first, oh, this is going to be a bit fiddly. But once I started, it was no problem. It was actually quite quick to get all 4 done. They're all built exactly the same way. And I'm pretty new to these kind of models. I built a few in the past. I built the Italeri river patrol boat that I was going to turn into an orc boat, but never quite managed that. But that's good because I can use it in Population Z now. And then I've also recently built one of the Black Hawk helicopters, which I just think is fantastic. And I really love this 1/48 scale with 28mm miniatures. So it works really nicely. And this especially just looks so cool. All right, let's have a look at these bits. And we've got the wings as well. So these are the real fun parts of the plane. I've got to admit, this just feels like one big toy, to be honest. And it's one of my favourite models I've actually put together. And I know I say that every time I get something new, but this really was good fun and totally different from anything else that I've got or built in the past. So it was a really nice change to do something like this. I believe that's part of the fuel tanks. You don't have to put those on. I haven't. I've just built them separately, as you'll see later. And then here we've got one section which itself is 17.5 inches. You're going to have to trim a little bit off the back, which I thought was weird, but you do have to cut that off, then glue another bit in its place. But those two bits are just going to go together. So you're going to build the internal section, and then you're going to surround it with this. And I thought, oh, that's going to just give a lot of room for error not lining up properly. But I was very surprised with how smooth it went together. I'm very pleased too. But yeah, doesn't that look cool? But you can just get a good idea of just how chunky this is going to be when it's put together. And then we've got the 2 cockpit sections as well. So again, same thing, really smooth to put in together. I'll just trim this bit off, and then there we go. I don't use that knife all the time. I'll show you later how I use the clippers and trim all the parts ready for assembly. But really nice. I mean, it's going to be quite smooth all over, so this is something you definitely want to be using an airbrush or the rattle can to get done. And you can see there's some nice details inside. And a lot of these you're never going to see, but it's still fun to paint them. And you might want to do some kit bashing where you can use some magnets even to put some sections together. So you could open it up and actually look in all the components. Plus, if you look through the windows, you would actually see inside, certainly in the front section. And when you put the ramp down at the back too. So yeah, but how much detail you want to go into, that's up to you. Let's have a look at a wing then. 15-inch there. Each wing is 15-inch. Plus the 3 for the centre fuselage, and then that'll give you that 33-inch wingspan, and then you've got the tail section there as well. And again, big flat panels, definitely want to be airbrushing and spraying this, and also you've got some of the seats there as well. Really nice. And then there, look, this is the sort of detail I like. You've got all the little creases and everything on the inside of the door that you glue in shut, so that's really good. And then you've got some of the big wheels. These are the larger ones that go towards the rear of the plane. And then you've got some of the smaller wheels. They're going to go in the front as well. And then you've got an option with the wheels. You can have them so that they're tucked away as it's flying. Or you can have them out as it's on the runway or about to land. And they go together great as well. Here's two sections. The wheel or the landing gear would go on to those if you want to have it shown on the model. Then you've got a little clear one here, which is going to have all your windows and everything. And you've also got the windshield. Do you call it a windshield on an aeroplane? I imagine. Do you? I'm not sure now, so now I've said it. Anyway, you've got that windshield and then all these small windows. There you go. We'll trim those out and pop those in for sure. You've got an option when you build to use some of the grey panels instead of windows, but I went with all the windows. I just like the way it looked. And this part I haven't glued in when I build it, so I've got some options to paint just inside a little bit. But there's everything laid out on the table, all the sprues and contents of the box. And this table's 6 foot by 4 foot, so you can see it's taking up a good portion of that table. And now the next step is to get it all cut out, and I'm going to lay all the bits out, all the big bits at least, all trimmed and cut out, ready to go. And then I'll take you through a couple of stages of the build real quick, and then show you some nice videos up close of the actual built aeroplane. So here I am, just clipping everything out. I just did this on the big table just to lay it all out in one place, and then I just started to prepare it, just trimming it with a knife and also with the clippers as well to get rid of any of the excess sprue. Some of the parts have got big chunky sprues attached to them, so a little bit of trimming was needed. And all I do here, you can see there's a big chunky bit on the wing. I just carefully use my snippers there just to get off the big chunky bit, being careful, making sure I'm not cutting into that wing at all. And I suppose you could use a file if you wanted to. I just like to use a little blade and just trim away at that and then scrape it until it's smooth. And then that's all there is to it really. But a file might be something you prefer to use, or a little filing pad, something like that. And here's the first section built. So this is stage 1 of the build. And this was probably the most fiddly part. You've got the pedals there and everything, and then you've got the landing gear for the front wheels, and then also a few little panels that you have to glue together. But that's gone together quite well though, quite pleased with this, so that wasn't too bad. But yeah, definitely the most fiddly part out the way right at the beginning. And so that's stage 1, as you can see there. All labelled, I didn't see any errors with that. And then we're going to move on. I'm just going to start putting all this together. I'm not going to go through each bit as I go, and then I'll show you some of the stages I've had to use some tape for, which is this part. So I built the whole interior, and then you surround it with the main sections, and before you put those sections together you have to put that long piece in. And now I've taped it up. It says to apply a lot of pressure to it to get it to stick, but I've used some tape and put that around. You can see there's a gap at the bottom and a few gaps there, so maybe a little bit of filling in to do later on. Also got to glue in the tail fins too. But otherwise, really happy. It's gone together nicely, much easier than I expected. This bit goes on the back like that, so we'll glue that in. And then with the wings, you can see they've got a little slot there and then a little peg, and then you're going to line that up, go through this little support that runs through the middle, push the peg in, and then that holds in place really well. And I'm not going to glue the wings on. They're well supported like this, so I can easily take the wings off and store it. Because I was just thinking, how am I going to store this huge model somewhere when I don't want it out on display or don't want to play with it? And so, yeah, I'll take the wings off and then it's going to go away in a box nicely. So that stage is done all inside, and then you can see all these bits. And then just sandwich it together with the two sections. And then you've got all the little landing gear to do. Very simple to build. The time's just taken up in preparing all the pieces and getting it all ready. I also added some tape to the rear ramp sections just to help those really settle in and glue nicely. And that's it. And once every part was finished, I started putting those big bits together. And here we go. Here's the finished piece, all assembled and ready to play. And I've just done this beach section with some hangers, although it's never going to fit in those, and some Nissan huts too. But a great build, really good fun putting this together, and I just think it looks so impressive on the table. It's going to be a fantastic piece of terrain, and you can play in, on it, around it, lots of options. With the front part, I didn't glue the window in the front, the windshield, and so I can go in there and paint. I also didn't glue the little door there at the side, but everything else is fixed and in place, except for the wings, of course, which can come on and off nice and easily. But that looks good. There's a little gap in the front there. Could have done a better job maybe squeezing that together. And also it's got a little bit of a tilt backwards. It's a bit heavier at the back, so I'm going to have to add a weight at the front part. I'm glad I went for the wheels though. Obviously it's going to be on the runway as part of the terrain, but that looks good. I think that looks really cool as a little mechanism coming out. And then the underside is where the biggest gap is. So I might fill that in. I might just leave it. I'm hardly ever going to turn it over like that. And you're not going to see it once it's on the table. This back section though, I'm going to put some magnets or something in so I can open and close it, because I want to have it open. Recreate that scene from World War Z. That'd be awesome when they're on the plane and getting back to it. But pretty robust once it's put together as well, as you can see here. Really strong, and I think it just looks great. And with this setup, it's going to be so cool to have some kind of desert or beach runway system. That's going to look awesome. And then we've got the transfer sheet, of course. Once it's painted, those can go on. A few bits left over from the sprues and those fuel tanks. While we're here, I'll show you where those fuel tanks go. And I'll just flip it over, and you can see they just go in the little holes there. They almost stay in place like that. A few magnets might be an option for this actually, and then you can take them on and off. But they might look good just stored somewhere along the runway. Some extra pieces of terrain for cover and things like that. And those wings come on and off. You can see that it's so easy to just slot in place. And then just once it's all painted, you're hardly ever going to see that joint line there once it's set up as a piece of terrain. But there we go, that's the C130J C5 Hercules. Let me know what you think down below, and if you've got any questions, add those to the comments too. I'll be using this in my game, Population Z, and if you want to find out what that's all about, have a look at the demo game that we recently put up on the channel. I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. We've also made an 11-part How to Play Population Z series, which takes you through every rule of the game, so you can really find out how it all works. And if you want to see the book itself, have a look at the Pop Z book overview, where I go through every page so you get a really good idea of what you're buying. And also the asset book, which is an optional extra, really helpful to get all the assets printed off in one place, and it just enhances the game. So that's an option if you want to go for that too. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Also hope you found it helpful. So if you're looking at getting a big plane for your collection, now you know exactly what's included in this set and what it's all about. So thanks again for watching. If you liked the video, it'd be awesome if you hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and I look forward to seeing you here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a massive thank you to my Patreon supporters for helping me keep going with these regular videos. I've refreshed Patreon yesterday, so it's updated now. And as Population Z is now ready, this is going to be exactly what I wanted to do with Patreon. So we're really going to grow it and push it from now on and see if we can get some more people to join and take advantage of some of the benefits there, but also help grow the channel, because we really need that help to get the channel growing and get more content out there. So you can join as a Survivor. It starts at £3 a month, and the Survivor supports the YouTube channel, helps it grow, and you also get any of the supplements that we bring out for any of our games for free, and that'll be supplements up to £2.50. The Standout Survivor is £5 a month, and you support the channel and you also get all the supplements, but now you get all the supplements priced up to £5. Then we've got some other options. We've got the Mutts Nuts at £10 per month, and this gives you everything that you've just seen, but you also get your name in the credits of YouTube videos, as you can see running along here now, and you'll get a free copy of the Weekend Warrior PDF book worth just over £7. And then finally, we've got the Brainy Bunch, and this is a little bit different. You get everything you've just seen, but you also get once a month an ad on the YouTube channel. So I'll pick out a video and you'll get a shout out in that video. And if you've got a business, this is a great opportunity to get in cheap and get your logo and your branding shown on a channel with well over 35,000 subscribers. If you'd like to support the channel this way, get access to all those free supplements that'll be coming out for all the games we've got going at the moment, then the link's down in the description below. And it'd be awesome to see you there. And of course, a massive thank you again to everyone who's been supporting us for so long on Patreon. It means a lot and we really appreciate it.